So for the attorney, I had like specifically like 4 parameters to like select the attorney. So one was the number of cases that the attorney has had, because in a term, like I wanted to be like, hey, there are a good number of cases that an attorney has seen. So even if there's an RFE or something like that, which we get in the future, the attorney would be able to resolve that. And the second one was like the number, like the success rate. Even though attorney might have handled a number of cases, but fails everything, that doesn't matter, right? So, which was really important was that, like how many cases has the attorney filed, how many were successful, and third is what the most, like I feel the most interesting was I was specifically looking at, because at the time I was filing the EB5, it was during the election time, so I wanted someone who has gone through at least the 2 administration cycle, like was filed cases under Democrats and who has filed cases under Republicans. Because as we have seen that the legal landscape changes very rapidly with one versus the other. So wanted to see that, hey, someone who has experience in dealing with these two. And the fourth criteria, which was, I think, specific to us, was the source of funds. We were initially planning to use a property in India as a source of funds. So we wanted someone who has that specific knowledge on, because it was very like a complicated selling process in India, and there are multiple challenges. So we wanted someone who has like experience in dealing with those situations. Like when I started my initial research in like May, my entire research was based on EB5AN's like YouTube videos, the website, and got to know a lot of information. So I was like, hey, these guys know this stuff. They have the credentials, they know this stuff. They've been doing this for 10 years. As I said, like the similar criteria which I picked for attorney like applies to EB5AN. So I was like, okay, these folks meet both the like all the criteria that I was looking for. Like basically, okay, you have worked in a different administration. You've what is the kind of the success rate? How do you pick? What is your philosophy on like picking developers and deciding to work with them? So you are always looking for kind of the best interest for the client that you're working with. Like for instance, this me as an investor in doing all the pre-qualification that is already needed to be done. So I don't have to do that, right? I don't have to be like, okay, how is Coulter or any other developer, because you've already done the due research, like pre-qualification on your part. What I just need to do is like, hey, okay, if I pick Coulter as a developer, what is the track record? What's the history? How have they been successful? What has been their strategy to getting to sales, and how do they pick the markets? What is the segment that they operate in? So that is what my research is was very like streamlined, and maybe for the fact like even made it much more easy. Like, hey, just working with EB5AN, they've done all the research, they've picked the good projects for you. Now you have to just decide between, hey, you want to pick a rural project or a urban project. This is my own like personal perspective. I'm not spoken to any other like regional center, but if you're going through this process, which is like is probably close to $1 million that you're putting in, so you need more of a guide who has been through this process, who's guiding you through the way. And I feel that Patrick and you were really like helpful in just showing me, okay, which projects are there, what is the risk level associated with it, and additionally like making the process so fast that even I was like, okay, I don't have a reference point, but it was very fast. Like within 2 weeks, we assigned. You sent me the documents, assigned it, you uploaded it, the funds were transferred, and it was done. So I think that was really great from an experience standpoint. Like from an experience standpoint, it was very great. And I didn't think I had any. I don't think it's not. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I didn't have any complaints, to be honest, with EB5. I believe they exceeded whatever expectations I initially even had. So yeah, it was like absolutely great working with EB5. So I would suggest like do your research, uh, look at your situation of where you are in. If there's other options that you want to explore, like going through the H1B or O1 or EB1A route, that is fine. That is fine, but like explore the options, know what you're getting from an EB5 kind of investment. But the process is great in the terms of sense that, hey, if you don't have any other options, it's specifically like targeted towards people who don't fit, maybe H1B is taking too long, then don't fit the O1, EB1A criteria, and just want some like stability in life and just a peace of mind, right? So then it comes down to the same question, like what is the cost of like peace of mind? So I think it's a very personal decision. I thought, yeah, going ahead with this investment is just probably the great thing to do. Given that, hey, okay, it's $1 million, I probably can go to India and retire with that money, but I didn't want to. So I was like, okay, let's, and I wanted to work. So I was like, this is the best option for me. And it was a very personal experience from how I made this decision for EB5. But to summarize, and overall, it is a great opportunity for folks to stay in the United States long term. And I would suggest like look at your criteria for finalizing an attorney, look at the criteria of finalizing your regional center. And just if you think it's the right thing to go ahead with EB5, definitely go ahead with that. I would definitely like recommend. I don't think you need to look any further. Just go ahead with Anita and EB5, like Anita as the attorney and EB5AN as a like a regional center. Everyone. So one of the things which I kind of wanted to bring back to were the parameters, which is, hey, like even for the attorneys, and it applies to the regional center as well. Like it's the amount of transparency and the responsiveness, which I realized after going through this process. Like it was not initial part of my criteria, but when I went through this process, I'm like, holy crap, that these people reply within like 2 minutes or so. But I've dealt with lawyers or any other people in like tech companies, they probably take a week. And I realized that how important that is because when you're making that investment, you definitely need a guide. Like you need someone to rely, like, hey, yeah, okay, whatever they're saying is the right thing to do. They're willing to guide you through the entire process, which becomes very important because the investment is so huge. And I think, to be honest, I don't have any other like a reference point, but for whatever experience I had or whatever I expected from that experience was definitely exceeded by both like Anahita and you guys at EB5AN. So for me, if I was to recommend someone or a friend or anyone, I would definitely send them to your way and Anahita's way.